How did Black people preserve stories and challenge false narratives?
Black people were their own journalists and they shared their stories to each other.
How were Black people able to preserve their culture?
Black people were able to preserve their cultures in their communities through oral traditions and storytelling.
How are they able to challenge and face the false narratives?
Black people challenged false narratives through independent journalism, academic research, and direct action protests, and culture creation, stuff like that.
What exactly are false narratives?
False narratives can be considered stereotypes. The negative effects they had were violence, heavy discrimination against us that put us in danger. Actually, MLK's Birmingham jail letter argues that injustice should be confronted directly instead of being ignored or postponed, which is pretty interesting.
What exactly did storytellings do in Black communities?
Storytelling helped pass down history through generations and allow people to learn about their history so they won't repeat it and continue our culture.
Why is preserving stories and challenging false narratives important?
Preserving stories and challenging false narratives are important because if we didn't preserve these stories, no one would know about our important history and our culture. If we didn't challenge false narratives, everyone would think the stereotypes and the disrespect we face is true and acceptable.
What happened for decades when mainstream media ignored or misrepresented Black communities?
Black people created their own newspapers, magazines, and radio shows to disprove the lies of mainstream media and give people the truth about what was happening within our Black community.
What did we exactly gain from all of this?
We learned about the fact that our history was able to be passed down through multiple generations, and we were able to disprove the false narratives placed against us.
What are the Greensboro Sit-ins?
The Greensboro Sit-ins was a civil rights protest where four black college students fought against segregation by sitting at a white-only Woolworth's lunch counter in Greensboro, North Carolina in 1960.
Why does this matter?
The Greensboro Sit-ins proved that the ordinary could challenge just unfair wins.
What are sundown towns and what do you know about it?
Sundown towns are basically small towns around the United States that exclude people of color.
Did you know that sundown towns affect people like Louis Armstrong and Billie Holiday?
Nah, I did not. I did not know that.
Okay, well, they weren't allowed overnight stays at a local white hotels when they had gigs. Had to take different long routes to get where they needed to go because of sundown towns. Why do you think knowing these things were important?
I think knowing these things were important because it helps us now understand the adversity that they went through. Quote that reminds me of this is I think it's by Malcolm X. You cannot kill the truth, you cannot kill justice, and you cannot kill what we are fighting for.
I'd probably say school was having not just having mandatory uniforms, but the uniforms also having something to do with their hair. I feel like hair as a whole shouldn't have to be a part of a uniform. The human timeline really stuck with me because I always thought newspapers and other forms of media came out in a different order. Seeing everything laid out on the timeline helped me understand how it actually happened.
And learning about the many ways Black people have influenced history, culture, music, science, sports, and civil rights. I was surprised about how many important contributions were not always covered in detail.
One thing I learned from this class is oral storytelling and how it was a way that back in the day our ancestors were able to preserve their stories.
Who is actually making an effort to preserve to tell stories?
I would say rappers like J. Cole, Kendrick Lamar, and directors like Ryan Coogler.
If Ryan Coogler never directed films or if J. Cole never dropped a verse, who would be telling our stories right now?
I feel the people who be telling their stories right now are the people who care.
Who is actually making an effort to preserve and tell stories?
Well, there's actually many people working to preserve and tell their stories. There's a few I can mention is Ava DuVernay, Ryan Coogler, and Jordan Peele, along with Spike Lee.
Jordan Peele's a good one. What's some of the first black kids or person of color you remember seeing on TV?
There's this one kid from the Spider-Man movies, Miles Morales. He's very memorable. He's the first black Spider-Man. His message is very powerful to me. It made me realize I don't have to be what everybody wants me to be. He got a quote. He said, "Nah, I'm gonna do my own thing."
Who are some characters from shows or movies you saw yourself in, and how did that affect you?
A character I feel like I remind myself at, or I see myself in, is Ricky from Boys in the Hood. He was like born in the hood, but like he was smart. He did sports, and then he tragically got killed by being in the wrong group of people.
Why is diversity in media important to youth and their growth through life?
I feel diversity is important in youth because it helps them grow academically, socially, personally, and it builds understanding in our youth and prepares us for the future.
How can seeing yourself in someone on TV help you through personal struggles?
I watch documentaries on like NBA players. I watch players that I could compare myself to, and whatever they go through, I can see like if I go through it, and I just use that as motivation.
You remind me of my coach. Every time I watch a Ray Lewis video or see one, I automatically think about my coach. He's another man I look up to. But off the field, he is somebody that you want to look up to, and you want your kids to look up to.
And you probably wouldn't expect them to act the way he do on the field.
In the future, as short form content dominates, do you think people will still engage with it?
I feel like there'd be more requirements within the videos for like people to engage with the videos.
Is attention span affecting the ability to learn?
I feel like it definitely is. In order to learn, you have to have a good attention span. And if you don't got that good attention span, how are you going to focus in school, in class, what people are talking to you about? All right, so I got a question for you. Can you remember the last time there was no type of device or screen in your face?
No, I cannot, because I'm always doom scrolling and I be having work, so no, I cannot.
What is happening or is going to happen if we continue with this attachment we have to our devices?
What I feel like is going to happen, I feel like social media notifications could increase over time, and people's attention span could just start getting worse by 30%. People could start feeling mentally drained, be glued to their phones forever, in my opinion.
Feel that?
Phone addiction, it can lead to myriad issues for teens, including insomnia, back pain, gaining weight, vision problems, headaches, anxiety, dishonesty, feelings of guilt, and loneliness. How can a good attention span help you in how you receive information?
A good attention span can help me receive information by like me paying attention and like actually absorbing what somebody's telling me. How do you think we can get better with staying like engaged in certain things?
I think longer form content would help, and less time on phones just scrolling. We should be reading more books. I feel like if kids are going to spend more time on their phones, it should be to read books, and using more fidget toys will help too.
How do you think attention spans affect mental health in like school and sports?
15% of 12 to 17-year-olds have anxiety. 8% of 12 to 17-year-olds have depression too. And another one, 6% of 12 to 17-year-olds have behavioral issues.
James Baldwin once said, "Not everything that is faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed unless it is faced."
Over here we have our recording, our little podcast over there. Period. And then we have our researchers right here.
Researching people for each segment. So
Yes, period.
Alright, bro, stop smiling, bro. Stop smiling, bro. I'm giving you pep talk.